happened in the year of 1999 there. We have a videotape of a girl that went in that school in the 1980s. You ought to see what 2020 did. They did a film on it. I got that film.
2020 went into this same high school.
In the 1980s, what the shit, this crap they've been pulling in that damn school. Even their teachers know it.
You don't actually see the teacher.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we have that video.
Oh.
It's all on 2020. It was filmed.
So this is back in the 80s. This school was a little
strange. Yeah, and they talked about prickly glass and witchcraft and, you know, how you can die and, you know, there's no such thing as wanting to live because it's better to die, and it's just awful. You'll have to listen to it. And it goes along with the textbooks and all the witchcraft in the textbooks.
Would it surprise you to know that this fall, your youngster may take a field trip to a funeral home, visit a mortuary where cadavers are laid out for embalming? It can happen. Welcome to the startling, the shocking death education.
Today with to touch it, to feel it, to smell it, to know that it's real.
The proponents of death education in the public schools believe they can help prepare kids to deal with the emotional distress and grief of death with some special training. But the problem, many experts say, is that these courses can stir up emotions in some youngsters that ordinary classroom teachers are not adequately trained to recognize or cope with.
The death ed teacher here at Paint Branch High, Phil Campbell, is not a psychologist, but he's using a therapeutic technique. The students are encouraged to enter a trance state, and reflect on the loss of a close relative or friend.
To a place where you've experienced a significant loss, a death of a friend, a suicide, a suicide, a suicide.
Students relive intensely emotional experiences. Avis loses control. Her grief over her father's death has resurfaced. Other students have similar reactions. Psychologists say inducing a trance state is potentially dangerous and may cause unnecessary trauma when conducted by an untrained person. May cause unnecessary trauma when conducted by an untrained person. Campbell, a sociology teacher, attended a one-day workshop on adolescent grief and admits he's not personally trained to deal with a possible emotional crisis like Avis has experienced. These days on television and with crack and violence in the streets, isn't there a need to educate them younger about death?
It sounds like one of those things, Tom, that would be a good idea, except empirically it's just not working out that way. See, these interventions aren't powerful enough. They're not therapeutic enough, if you will, to keep the troubled kids out of trouble, but they are powerful enough to draw the untroubled kids into becoming trouble. They are powerful enough to draw the untroubled kids into becoming trouble.
Tara Becca believes she was seduced into a suicide attempt by her death ed class. 6 years ago, Tara was a junior at Columbine High in Littleton, Colorado. At Columbine High in Littleton, Colorado. Her English literature teacher began weaving her own beliefs on reincarnation into the classroom discussions of death.
This is what this teacher is teaching. When you die, you get all the knowledge that God has, and then you're recreated. You come back again in another life form, and you have all the knowledge that God knows. And for a person like me that definitely loved to learn, that was exciting. You know, wow, I get to learn everything God knows.
Was death taught to you here as being something terrible, something to dread?
Oh, no. No, it was exciting. It was something to look forward to. It was definitely very appealing. It was an escape.
Tara finally decided she wanted to escape and saw death as the only solution to her typical teenage problems. Then she searched the nearby Rockies for a suitable cliff to drive over.
It was the only way I could get free from myself. I would no longer be in bondage, and this is what the teacher and everybody in the class was talking about. And this is what the teacher and everybody in the class was talking about.
After carefully planning her own suicide, Tara drove home for one last visit.
My dad met me at the front door, and they could see that I was definitely not with it. I was saying things like, it's not really me. It's not really me. It's not really me. And my mom and dad knew that there was something desperately wrong, so they took me to the hospital and put me in a psychological area of counseling so that I could get some help.
School has refused to comment on the case, other than to say the course had nothing to do with Tara's problems.
I mean, without this class, might you not have been a candidate for suicide?
I had thought about it as a possible option for a lot of years, but I never would have gone through with it. Never, because I wasn't brave enough. The things that we learned in the class taught us how to be brave enough to face death. The things that we learned in the class
taught us how to be brave enough to face death.
What makes us think that American education is going to do a good job teaching death education? We ought to be trembling about the fact that the schools, which have failed to teach academics, are now presuming to teach matters of life and death.
If you'd like to feel the difference between life and death, you can touch them. The difference between life and death, you can touch them. You can touch them. You can touch them. You can touch them.
You can touch them.
Graphically introducing death to impressionable young minds is at the core of the controversy over death education in our public schools. Will students walk away from here with a clearer understanding of death, or with nightmarish memories that might haunt them for life and perhaps inadvertently suggest death as an answer to adolescent problems?
Know that this is being taught in each case.
That's a major problem, Hugh, that schools teaching these courses without letting the parents at home know, parents either individually or collectively as a group, if they're concerned about this, to go to their school to find out if death ed is being taught. Also, is it an option for the kids, or are they being pushed into this by parents know whether the kids are emotionally ready for it? Whether the kids are emotionally ready for it? Whether the kids are emotionally ready for it?
You know, in sex education, a lot of experts feel that questions should be honestly answered, but to load a lot of information that unasked on little kids is probably...
On a young mind, it is a heavy burden to get into that type of subject, including death.
Walk away from here with a clearer understanding of death, or with nightmarish memories that might haunt them for life and perhaps inadvertently suggest death as an answer to adolescent problems. And perhaps inadvertently suggest death as an answer to adolescent problems.
Just the adolescent problem.
like a juvenile. He said, I'm not showing them my fear, I'm showing them their fear. And I found out that life is that thrill. If you don't show somebody fear, they don't know no fear. They don't know how to be afraid.
Over the last couple weeks, they've had drill after drill. Now they're in a lockdown. I'm glad my daughter's not here. I sent her back home. So, because if nothing else, if this is nothing, which I hope it is, it's just a scare tactic, I believe. Scare our children into always thinking that something's going to happen. And here we have this, no guns on, no guns on. Okay, lockdown has been lifted, so I'm going to go in and see what's going on. And this is Laura Morrison, Info Warrior. Check out Infowars.com, and you guys don't let them take your guns. And don't let them put police in your school either. It's both bad. Okay? It's all move towards martial law, police state. We can't have this.
Hello, Mr. President. My name is Lily. I am really sad about what happened in Sandy Hook. I think that instead of taking guns away, we should have them with us so we can defend ourselves if bad guys try to hurt us. I hope they stop hurting kids. I know that they won't hurt or kill kids next time. At least if grown-ups or parents get to have guns, they will keep us safe. Thank you for helping us. And I'm 7 years old. This is Lily cutting out. And then signing off.
Just a little observation. This is a picture of Dylan Klebold from the Columbine massacre incident, and just noticed in this picture that he is wearing a Boston baseball cap. And if you are familiar with the Columbine case and all the inconsistencies there, one of the weird things was that in their writings they had actually talked about running airplanes into the World Trade Center before the 9/11 incident ever happened. So they somehow were talking about taking planes and running them into the World Trade Center, just like 9/11. They were talking about that in their writings before 9/11 ever happened. And now I noticed this little, I guess, coincidence that there's a Boston reference in these tapes that they made. So just a curious thing. If everything is connected, if there's some big underlying factor in all of these things, and if Columbine was another false flag, mind control type operation, I think that all of these people are having the same kind of handlers, and therefore they have knowledge of all of these things. It's just a thought. So anyway, much love. God bless.
Did anybody ever wonder if possibly Dylan and Eric Harris were thinking that they were going to live through this? That this was just, do you think it's possible that they were fooled into thinking they were going to do this shooting and then somehow get away and maybe leave the country?
Right, I think it might have been.
Has anybody ever brought that up that you've known?
No, but it's been a thought in my head.
Because if these people were fooled, they may have been tricked into thinking they're just going to do this with the help of these other people, you see?
I think they had support.
And then at the end they got rid of them.
Been raped by the cops. There's a possibility.
Oh.
Cops raped them. And that's why they said F Sheriff Walsh.
Oh.
That's why they were so angry at everyone.
Oh, I see.
Because it said they stripped me from everything we had and took it all. What could the police take from them except their virginity? Or their whatever?
Yeah.
My God. I mean, that's a possibility. You know why?
Yeah.
Because that head coach of Columbine raped those boys and got arrested. That one did.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a possibility, right? I mean, there's always a possibility. There's a rape going on at school.
Yeah.
Would that be a possibility?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. That would fuel the rage, wouldn't it? And if you went on antidepressants, you'd hate the whole damn world. You wouldn't care who the hell he shot.
Well, especially if the policemen are doing it.
Well, no,
the coach at school.
Think of how you're angry without being on drugs. Imagine going on a drug and being angry.
November 27th, 2012. Dear Dad, I would like to be free. Wouldn't you like me to be free? Wasn't I promised to be free in this country, America, land of the free? Wasn't liberty and freedom for me also? I was trying to protect others when they arrested me. Why won't you listen to me? Don't you love me? Don't you wish I would have my freedom that I so cherish? Dad, set me free from the system that's destroying me. I love my freedom. Can I go to the doctor now in Fort Collins?
This one's for you.
thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's bullshit. These people are not crazy, they're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick.